Welcome back, I'm Kenny, and welcome to my review of Mortal Shell. I should start off by saying thank you to Playstack and Cold Symmetry. I received a PlayStation 4 key through terminals.io, so I want to say a big thanks to them, and sort of declare I didn't pay for the game, didn't buy the game myself, so I just say, yeah, big thank you to them for gifting this key to me. I think with that, let's jump in, shall we? So firstly, the stuff I liked about the game, I really like the shell system. That's sort of one of this game's unique selling points. You'll see once we load in, I'm currently already occupying one of the shells. There's 4 different shells. Each has a different health and stamina pool. There we go. The one I've got right here, Aerodrome the Venerable. It's highest health in the game, but the lowest stamina pool, so the character lends itself to being a wee bit more tanky than, say, some of the other ones. And yeah, the game is based upon this shell system. If you start off as a sort of a naked skeleton man kind of thing, and you inhabit these shells. These have different abilities, and you don't level up in this game. You don't level up or get stronger through gear or aquatic armor. You you level up the weapons a little bit with items, but there's a limit, and so you can't like power level your way through certain things. But this sort of tower is there we go. Just changed. I didn't realize I pressed X and I was a little bit too close to one of the shells. It's another one of the shell. This is a Solomon the Scholar. I think we've got Teal. Yeah. Teal's sort of like the opposite of the one I started off in, as the highest stamina pool and pretty low health, but they have a very cool dodge, and they regain their stamina pretty quickly as well. Where's that's the first one. Where's there he is, Aerodrome. Yeah, what makes this shell system interesting is that when your health reaches 0, you get kicked out of it. So let's actually, there's a way I can do that without actually dying. Give me a wee second. There's some. Where is it? Where's the tar? Oh, there we go. So yeah, if I use this item, the Tainted Nectar, get knocked out of your shell. Now this normally happens when you lose all of your health, so you have one chance to get back and inhabit your shell again, and upon doing so you regain all of your health. So that can be used quite tactically actually during some fights. Instead of using up my last maybe 3 health items or something, I'll take the hits, I'll get knocked back out, and if I get back to my body full health, we'll restart the fight and keep on going. But you can only do that once. If you get knocked out again, you die. If you do happen to die, then you just respawn, get back to your body, much like other Souls-like games. You get back there, you get your tar back, which is kind of, it's not really XP, it's more like your currency. You get back there, you get that back. So like other Souls, like going back for your souls or blood echoes or whatever it is, it works. It's a very similar kind of idea in this game as well. So we'll try and find some enemies. You can parry in this game, much like you expect other action RPGs to be able to do. But you can also see if I can riposte. There we go. Nope. There we go. Got one of them. So I can riposte, and that. Well, I have an ability where I get health back if I do that. There's also. Oops, pick that up. There's also another ability in this game. Instead of blocking, like you can parry. That's one way to block incoming attacks. The other way is to turn yourself to stone. That operates on a cooldown, but it's your way of blocking, and you can do it part of the way through an attack and carry on. So it's a really interesting way. I think I really like the system over having like a traditional sword and shield kind of mechanic for blocking. And it's a really, it can be really tactical with it. Take a hit during a boss combo and then carry on as if, you know, without taking any damage. It's a really cool system. Something else I quite liked about this game, strange enough, is the length of time it took to actually finish it. So it only takes about 10 hours to get through this game. I think you can probably do it a lot quicker than that, but I like to run around and explore, and I died a few times as well. So yeah, I'd say the game only takes like maybe 10 hours to get through. It is an indie title, so it is a bit cheaper as well. It's probably like $20, 20 quid, 200 krona, something along those lines. If whatever your currency is not an inexpensive title. So I think, you know, for 10 hours, it's not bad. And certainly if you were looking for if you're looking for a longer game in the genre, this isn't that. The game itself is fairly simple, straightforward, nothing too complicated. The story, I honestly couldn't really tell you much of the story because it's a bit abstract. Much like Souls series, there's a lot of like fantasy babble. The lore is interesting, but I wouldn't say I could tell you what's happening in this world, who like the major players are, things like that. But overall, it's an interesting world to be in, even if the length of time in the game isn't too long, which I personally quite liked. There's a lot of games that are vying for my attention right now, so having something that's like this for only like 10 hours is actually, I think, is pretty good. With it being an indie title, there is a lack of polish in some areas of the game that maybe bigger titles or better funded titles or more funded titles wouldn't have. The frame rate in general has been fine. Like, I rarely had an issue with dropped frames or anything like that. It pops up occasionally, but it's more like the smaller technical aspects of it. Like, for example, sometimes the collision doesn't quite match the model it's attached to, which, you know, some enemies can appear to be floating, for example, if they're standing on a cliff edge. Occasionally I found some attacks didn't appear to hit me, even though they did. And so there's a slight lack of polish here and there, but I mean, in general, I never found anything egregious and it made me think, wow, this game is unfair, or like nothing technical really put me off during the game. There's just a couple of little things here and there. You can see that like the world here is a little bit, I don't know if it's like a film grain filter or something like that, but it's, oops, jeez, that scared the crap out of me. But it is, it does feel like it's lacking a little bit. Maybe on PC it's a lot better. I remember playing the beta on PC and it was a very pretty looking game, so it could just be that the PlayStation version is a little bit lesser, I guess, to an extent. I wouldn't say by much. It still looks pretty damn good. But there's a slight lack of polish in some areas. I would say in the level design more in some areas than others. For example, there's an area called, I think it's the Eternal Narthex or something like that. And there's large areas of just nothing in there. Just big expanse, looks beautiful, very atmospheric, and like oppressive looking. But there's like no enemies. And even if you go exploring, sometimes there's no items either. So there's a lot of space there, but it's not being used effectively in some ways. Enemy placement can be a problem here and there as well. Like there are some tunnels that connect some areas of the swamp to other areas. And there's one or two sections where I did find like enemies being aggroed towards me before I even had a chance to regain control of my character. That's the thing. When you go towards a tunnel, you activate it. You push up to go through it. Then when you get to the other side, the game removes control from you. And, oops, just making sure. I thought I heard an enemy. The game takes control away from you, and there's a small scene of you standing up where you can't do anything. And if an enemy's coming towards you to attack, they're probably going to hit you. So there was some enemy placement issues I had. Not just in the swamp where the tunnels were, but in some other areas as well, where there's an enemy in a really awkward place, and then there's a second enemy that appears out of nowhere to try and catch you off guard, which is, you know, not uncommon in some of these games, but they appeared in some areas that they felt a bit cheap and a bit unfair in some instances. Couldn't really think of a better way to put that, but again, not a tremendous issue across the game, but often enough where I was like, okay, that was a little bit, that's a bit annoying. There's another aspect as well of this game where that I kind of found it's a little bit unbalanced. There are some shells, or at least this shell in particular, I actually found very strong going through the game, to the point where I rarely use the other ones. So some of the abilities that this particular shell has, let's get rid of this guy. They basically sort of, every time I kill an enemy, I get like a small damage buff, and that stacks. It stacks up to 100, as long as I don't get knocked out of my shell. But it meant that on top of another ability which just gives me more health in an already large health pool, did make this character quite kind of a little bit easy to play, which is fine. I'm not against necessarily being overpowered in a Souls-like game, but it did make some of the more important encounters a little bit easier or trivial than they should have been. So yeah, there's one or two balance aspects of the game which could have done with a bit more work. I certainly had fun, so can't really fault it for that, but it's something to be aware of, that not everything, if you want a challenge, it's there. If you don't, there are ways to sort of play the game without too much challenge. Using the harden ability along with the weapon special abilities, which don't use up stamina, I did find that combination plus a higher health pool making some boss fights very trivial. The final boss, for example, I just attacked them with my normal attacks, then used a special attack, and while the animation was playing out for that and I was doing a ton of damage, my stamina came back and I could continue attacking again. So it's let's say there's some balance aspects to the game, but overall I had a lot of fun. Oh sorry, I'm playing on New Game Plus because I've completed the game and I think I just triggered where I was supposed to go, because you don't start off in that tower, you make your way towards that tower. But yeah, I've already done that on my first playthrough, so my second playthrough I just triggered that scene, it looks like. So that caught me by surprise. I wondered what the hell was happening there. I mean, overall, I consider this game to be a really solid entry into the Souls-like genre. It was a really small team that made it, so for its flaws, I think it's a really good game. So if you're looking for a Souls-like experience that's about 10 hours, that's polished to a pretty good level, to be honest. I mean, it's a really small team that made this, and I think for the price, the length of time you're going to spend playing the game, I'd say pick it up. I think it's worth it. If you haven't played one of these before, well, like a Souls-like game before, I wouldn't jump in with this one. I would probably get a bit more experience with some of the more established franchises in this genre. But if you have played Souls-like games before, I'd say this is well worth picking up. Thanks for watching. Again, thank you to Cold Symmetry and Playstack for the key. And yeah, if you'd like to talk more about Souls-like games, tell me what your favorite one is, if there's one you're looking forward to, or maybe one that you think would be worth picking up that doesn't really get a lot of press, then let me know in the comments below, or come and chat to me on Twitch. I stream 3 days a week, Thursday evenings and Saturday and Sunday afternoons. There should be a link below here. Thank you very much for checking out this video. I've been Kenny, and happy gaming.